Hello and welcome to Twin Tigers Data. My name is Thomas Kistner and let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about what exactly D&D is. Now, in its basis, D&D is a game. It's a RPG. It's a tabletop. It's not a contest to see, hey, my character can beat up your character better, despite the fact that that's what most people think. Now, not all of it is just murdering and killing all of the orcs and goblins that you come across. It's kind of RP2. Most of the adventures that you'll come across are fantasy and mythical based. However, you may have a DM who says, "Hey, I'm going to put us into a modern game, or I'm going to put us into a more science-based game, or the science fiction style." Now, it's not about the best character build. It's not about what your character can exactly do. For me, at least, it's about what journey your character's going on compared to what he's already done. If you do that, I believe your character is perfect. Now, it's 70%, it should be, for most games, 70% RP, 30% fighting. Despite the fact that most of the games that I come across, it will be mostly fighting more than role playing, but that's because most people are more like mission based, oriented based. They aren't like, oh, let's do it for the adventure and play the characters and actually build stuff. However, my games are, even then, when you're trying to do this, you think, what would my character do? What does my class do? What would my race do? You don't say, oh, just because I'm a fighter, I'm not going to run head in every single time. You think, you're a fighter, so you're going to try to cut up a few people and then be logical and say, oh, I can knock out one guy because I need some information. You, as the DM, are in charge of why exactly your characters do something. Your players are in charge of the effects of what happens, and then you create what ends up happening. Another thing, just because you have, say, all of the current adventuring modules, does not mean that your game is gonna be a lot better. Just use a few of them to make your game a little bit better. However, you don't want to just throw every single monster possible at them. The materials that you truly need are the Dungeon Master's Guide, Player's Handbook, and the Monster Manual. These three books provide you a base group of monsters, the classes, the races, and everything else that you need for a base game, and also the base rules. The other books that you can gain are Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Volo's Guide to Monsters, the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and the Elemental Evils Player's Companion, beyond the 7 upcoming 8 adventuring modules that they're releasing. The Player's Handbook, like I said, contains the basics for all you players, actions that you can do during a fight, classes and specializations, races and sub-races, equipment, spells, downtime activities. I don't have it on this list, however, also backgrounds, which is a major part of 5th edition. However, other editions, you really don't care about those. Monster Manual. This one contains the fights to pit creatures that you can put fights against your players, tactics that these creatures use, abilities and attacks that they can have, the skill bonuses that they have, save modifiers, their base stats, and also how to make a proper fight for each individual creature. The Dungeon Master's Guide gives you how to give out good treasure, how to handle giving out XP to different players, some homebrew options like 2 new stats, which are called Honor, and I think something like Proper Etiquette, where you know when exactly is the right time to say something. Kind of like a Wisdom, except for talking to people. Dealing with multiple tier play. For example, if you're switching from a tier 1 campaign, which is your first to 4th level games, to a tier 4 campaign, which is 15 to 20. 20, there we go. Then you get to, it tells you how exactly to handle these. Curses and madness that go onto characters and items that you have, traps and poisons, building your own world, how to handle taking care of the creatures and characters and races that you have in that world, and so on and so forth. Xanathar's Guide to Everything provides you with some new specializations and spells, along with magical items, some better information on building magical items, and also magical items per tier for each group. Volo's Guide to Everything. Sorry, Volo's Guide to Monsters. I screwed up on this. I don't mind. Involves new playable races with their own sub-races, and also new monsters to fight that have some base, where some of them are already inside the monsters manual. For example, lizard folks are in there, beholders, and a couple other ones. Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes provides new sub-races for dwarves, elves, gnomes, and tieflings. New monsters to fight for your players, and also the Gith races. The Gith, and also 2 sub-races for them, the Yankee and the Zerai, which you can buy, or I'll probably make a video for it later on. Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, I believe it provides 1 new specialization, however, that's only for a Dwarven Barbarian, you can't be any other race besides Dwarf, and you have to be a Barbarian to take it up. There might be some other ones, however, I don't know. There's also a side note specifically only for Tieflings, and it's stuff like Winged Tieflings, Feral Tieflings, and stuff like that. New info for adventuring involving areas and terrain and culture. And then there's new religions for the clerics and paladins beyond what's inside the book. And also give you more information on them. And all the base races are given information that you need inside the player's handbook that this book gives more on. The Elemental Evil Player's Companion gives you new spells and new races with their own sub-races. However, I believe it's and I might have mistyped this, however, the Goliath is actually inside the Volo's Guide to Monsters, not Xanathar's Guide to Everything. The Adventuring modules, which include books like the Horde of the Dragon Queen, the Storm King's Thunder, Tomb of Annihilation, Tales from the Yawning Portal. These books will give you these will be great ways to help new DMs and also old DMs find new ways to give some adventures for their players. They're all pre-made adventures that you can put your players up against. Some of them provide new enemies with stats for them to fight, info on magic items that are completely new for players, and also some intelligent items. And few of them give info on background changes that you can make, and also, as far as I know, that there are two that provide three new backgrounds: the archaeologist and the anthropologist from Tomb of Annihilation, and the it's slipping my mind. However, I believe it's the dark one or the cursed one from the Curse of Strahd book. Now, what your players do entirely affects your world if it's a homebrew world. Like, this is your own world. You have to deal with the consequences that your damn players make. From the minor, like it says, from the minor, save a small village from a werewolf attack that is completely evil. How to taking down a corrupt leader that the people hated. However, it was kind of doing some good for the world. You should find some reactions here. Like, that good thing that the villain was doing stops. And the people realize, oh shit, we don't want this. You can have one of your players take up the spot and try to continue his work. Or something similar. However, you don't need these reactions immediately. Some of them can happen in 3 months or 3 years, depending on how long it takes. NPCs are all the people that your players aren't playing. From a simple guide that wants to take them through the forest to a shopkeep that is completely okay with what exactly is happening, however, is completely silent. Now, a major problem that I constantly see is this. All of the damn NPCs that are shopkeeps are completely pissed off at people and don't want to do something. Or every single dwarf that I come across wants to be Irish or Scottish or something similar, and it kind of takes away from the story. Jokes. No, most of these are kind of become made by the stuff that you do or your players do. Now, these are made to mostly come from supposed to be made to make things happier and not completely boring, because you are monotone and all of the time there is sadness and darkness, and you sound like you are going to bore them out the entire way. A player makes one joke and you're like, what? You gotta be ready for these. You can't be like, oh, this is new. Was not expecting this. Be ready for these. And then deal with the events that happen afterwards. Now, there are many events. Some comic book stores and gaming stores run games weekly. I go to one here in town every Wednesday, and they do 5th edition, and however, some stores that you go to can run a 4th edition game or a 3.5 because that one was a little bit better. And even then, some major events that you can find will happen. They will be probably something called Adventures League events, and you can just show up there, pay some cash. That's the admittance fee, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're allowed to play and do whatever. Now, go to a group and try to have some fun. Don't be the guy that's just there so then you can say, oh, I want to do this. I want to be this drabby guy that wants to become king. Yet, if you're doing an Adventures League game, you're dealing with giants, and there is no chance you're gonna find a king that wants you to become, or even a chance to become a king, then you're gonna have to deal with this problem with somewhere else, and honestly try not to drown the fun of everyone else is having. Now, by the time you might watch this, by the time this comes up, or you watch this or find it somehow, there might have been already, beyond the next season's book that's coming out probably in 2 months, this September, there may have been more than that, just this one book that's coming up. The Adventurers League or D&D in general may have released some new rules and information, like that extra 5 levels that I really want, and release tier 5. Damn it, release it. They may get even new enemies, like the one race that I really want from D&D 3.5, which is called the Crystalline Dragon. Oh my lord, I love these in 3.5. I really want to find one and fight one with my characters. But anyways, so you should keep an eye out for these and check in often on your sites that you can find them on. One of the sites that I like to find my stuff on is called rpg.rem.uz, and this site actually provides me with more than just D&D and Pathfinder. It provides me also with Star Wars, Digimon, yes, that exists, Pokemon, Call of Cthulhu, and even some other games that exist out there. So make sure you check it out and try to find it. Now, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And make certain that to let me know if I completely suck. But guess what? I already know this. You don't need to tell me. Thank you, have some fun, and remember, game safe.